I want to preface this video that there is indeed going to be spoilers because I don't know how to talk a book without spoilers. So if you don't want spoilers, I would turn me off right now. If you want to hear what I thought about Touch of Darkness book by Scarlett St. Clair with spoilers, go right ahead. I have thoughts. A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. I was confused by page 6. This book, when you read the blurb of this book, it feels like she's supposed to be this goddess that is completely disguised as immortal, that nobody knows about the gods, that they're not involved within the mortal worlds. And then I get to page 6 and the gods are like celebrities. They, like, Hades owns a nightclub and everybody knows that the nightclub's owned by Hades. And then further in the book you find that there's other nightclubs and other restaurants and cafes that are owned by other gods, and that mortals can gain favours from the gods, and that mortals can go have bedtime stories with the gods. And they do a yearly charity ball event where the gods come and walk down the red carpet. I'm so confused. I don't I don't know. I bought this whole series based off of reviews and I guess the blurb. I'm not that interested in Greek mythology. I've never been interested in Greek mythology. My partner had to correct my pronunciation of Hecate. So that's how much Greek mythology I don't know. And I don't know how to feel about this book. Because, like, even, so, like, this is just chapter 1. So, chapter 1, Persephone's talking about how sometimes the mortals call Hades Adonis because, or Adonis, or however the hell you pronounce it, because they don't want to incite his name. And then on page 79 or 78 or something like that, they literally meet another person and his name is Adonis, but it's spelt differently, and nobody bats an eye. There's no internal dialogue from Persephone to be like, that's really interesting. We're in the nightclub of Hades and I just got introduced to a guy named Adonis. I wonder who that is. What? And then all of their friends are like essentially going to be doing jobs that are going to eventually serve the gods. She's not hiding. What are you talking about? After moving to New Athens, she hoped to lead an unassuming life disguised as a mortal journalist. But she's friends with people who are eventually going to serve the gods. She goes to a university to do journalism and ends up in several nightclubs owned by several different gods and meets Hades himself by chapter 2. I'm pretty sure. And then, on top of that, the contract between her and Hades, I immediately was like, she's gonna have to get pregnant, and I was real worried, because I'm not into reading about that sort of stuff. And I know there's books out there and there's tropes out there for people who don't mind their main characters getting preggers and whatever as like a trope. It's not generally what I go for. But And then for her to immediately go that she's going to have to create a garden in the underworld, like, is that's your first thought? Like, I understand you're the goddess of spring and your mother, you know, creates all of these fanciful flowers and gardens, but why would that be the first thing you think of when Hades, the god of the dead, tells you you need to create life in the underworld? And the fact that Hecate has to actually say it to her as well. Like she never thought of it. Very weird. On top of that, there's no other story. Like, I don't know. I kind of thought that it was going to be... She had normal friends. She was hiding in plain sight. You know, she had her glamour, and that was all good and well. She was going to her job and she was doing her cool journalism stuff. And she did normal mortal activities and things, which she did a bit in here. There was a scene where she ended up getting the god of the dead to come into her kitchen and bake cookies. So, you know, but that was well after she'd absolutely fallen in love with him as well. But, like, I wanted more from this story. I really did. I wanted her to have a completely normal life and all of these normal friends. And then for her to then accidentally run into Hades and for that story to then happen. And for that contract to still happen, but for her to have to like fight her way back to having a mortal... I don't know. I don't know. Anyway. And then after halfway through the book, it was like... I don't know, I just felt like I was reading the words and I wasn't actually reading anything else. They would go to bed like 3 too many times. And like, I'm all for romanticises. I've read all of Sarah J Maas's books. I've read Lynette Noni. Like, I'm well aware, but... And like, for no reason. Like, I like the build-up. I like the build-up of the enemies to lovers kind of thing. But they were never really enemies because she fell in love with him as soon as she saw him. And then he admitted that he was in love with her by the time they got to the baths. So... And I kind of wanted to know a bit more about Demeter. Or however you pronounce her name. Persephone's mum. She's just lived by herself. She does not... I don't hear anything about her father. I don't know who the father is. Persephone. Don't know how she was born. I don't know. Maybe it's in the other books. I don't even know if I want to read the other books, but I have the other books now, so I'm gonna have to read them. Anyway, A Touch of Darkness by Cassandra St. Clair. If you're interested in Greek mythology, maybe it will interest you. If you're interested in enemies to lovers, I don't think it's what you're after. If you're interested in pointless sex scenes, that's what you'll get. And a female main character that shows her power by the end of the book after she has sex with a god for the first time, essentially. And then later gets told by Hades that it was because she had worshippers that her power came back. Or was born. I'm gonna read the rest of the series. I'll get back to you.